A master in martial arts becomes the savior of a small town when he unexpectedly has a change of heart for an infant baby girl and the residents of a small town. Hello there everyone, I'm Nick Yakabuchi, this is RealScreenReviews.com, and our next movie review is The Warrior's Way. This big action extravaganza opened around the country on Friday, December 3rd, 2010, and it features Dong Gun Jang, Kate Bosworth, Academy Award winner Geoffrey Rush, one of the most underrated actors today, Danny Huston, and Tony Cox. This film comes to us from first-time filmmaker Sung Mo Lee, who assembles quite a cast of quality actors and talent to try and breathe life into a story that we've seen many times in the past. Now, our tale begins long ago and far away, telling us the story of the Zen Flute, a team or group that possesses almost ninja-like skills and talents and are at constant war with an opposing clan. These sword-wielding soldiers launch out of the ground, they launch out of the water, and sometimes they seem to launch right out of midair, and the moves that they are capable of are very reminiscent of the Jedis from Star Wars. One certain warrior has trained an entire lifetime to destroy the enemy on a whole and achieve the status of being the greatest and unmatched. Yang, as he is called, in fact does accomplish this feat, but when it comes time to eliminate the last member of his opposition, he just can't do it. His heart melts almost immediately when he gazes upon the eyes of a beautiful baby girl, and not only does he not kill her and save her, he becomes the prime and biggest target of his own clan, now thought to be only as a traitor. His escape leaves the Far East for the Wild West to a town named Lode, also known as the Paris of the West. This once thriving gold rush town is now almost run down and only home to quite a few colorful characters left over from a carnival. Kate Bosworth shows up as Lynn, the unwritten leader of these circus performers, and she is sporting fiery red hair with an attitude to match it every step of the way. I just kept thinking that this is what Pippi Longstocking would look like if she grew up. Then you have Geoffrey Rush taking the reins as the town drunk that could also be titled the Wild Bill Hickok of the film. And let's not forget the always funny Tony Cox as the ringmaster 8-Ball. As Yang spends more time around the town of Lode, he begins to grow feelings not only for the baby that he so protects, those feelings now begin to realize the importance of both life and love. He finds that it takes caring to watch a garden grow over time and only merciless moments to cut it down. Yang must then channel his talents to not only fend off his own clan, but also that of the evil and horribly scarred colonel that is dead set on taking advantage of anything left in the town of Lode. Well, people, this is neither a good nor a bad film. It just kind of falls right down there in the middle. The Warrior's Way is completely filled with blood and carnage from start to finish and painted against a wall of what I would call comic book backdrops. The action sequences are very cool, bordering on cartoonish, but still enjoyable nonetheless. There is even flirtatious sword fighting between the two leads, and wonderful pieces of classical music accompany the most complex and intricate martial arts throughout. However, throughout the film, it really kind of felt like a retread of both the Underworld and Matrix films. Now, I know it is better than the equivalent movie from just late last year entitled Ninja Assassin, but with that having come out so recently, some people might have already had their fill with this storyline. One other small issue is that the clan of Yangs must have about 10,000 members because he alone takes out about 1,000 people, and it doesn't even seem to make a dent. But one of the film's strongest points is that of villain Danny Huston as the Colonel. Danny Huston delivers once again another solid and credible performance as the baddie in a major Hollywood release, and I truly believe that Hollywood would have been lost these last 2 years without actors Danny Huston and the just as underrated Mark Strong to be there to portray every mainstream villain from Sherlock Holmes to Edge of Darkness. Now, the biggest problem I did have with the movie The Warrior's Way was that even though it did look cool on the big screen, every time I was watching a big action fight sequence, it really looked as if I was at one of my buddies' houses and watching two of my friends play Mortal Kombat. Kids from today really like to rip on Chuck Norris because they only know the Walker, Texas Ranger Chuck Norris, or that Conan O'Brien pokes fun at the guy quite a bit. But what people should realize is that the martial artists from the movies of the 1970s and 80s, like David Carradine, Chuck Norris, and the great Bruce Lee, actually had to use swords and weaponry being filmed, and most definitely did not have the luxury of CGI technology to make them look good after the fact. At 1 hour and 40 minutes, The Warrior's Way, once again, wasn't too long or too short, it was just average. It's nothing but a standard story we've all seen before, but this time around it's enhanced with strong supporting performances from actors that are more talented than the film itself. In the end, our hero just kind of walks off into the sequel, oh, wait a minute, I mean Sunset, and I wish that they would have cared more about the film that I was watching currently instead of trying to worry about a sequel that might not even get made. If it's raining outside or you have absolutely nothing to do, then I would recommend The Warrior's Way. If not, then I think you can definitely wait on this one. Only 2 stars out of 4. And remember, people, I'm not always right, only when it comes to the movies. And thank you very much for your attention.